Welcome to Healing Wisdom, a Thursday morning talk show featuring guests sharing their stories and knowledge. We discuss the healing aspects of the arts, metaphysics, social justice, and adventure through all types of terrain. So join me, Pandora Peoples, here on WOMR 92.1 FM in Provincetown and WFMR 91.3 FM in Orleans. We're streaming worldwide at WOMR.org. The very first Lower Cape Pride celebration is in the works, and you're invited to participate. On Saturday, June 14th, a parade will begin at the Orleans Village Green in front of the Snow Library, and the procession will go down Main Street. There'll be a barbecue at the Council on Aging, performances at the Cape Rep Theater in Brewster, a symposium from the director of PFLAG, and so much more. Here with us to talk about Lower Cape Pride is one of the founding members, Katie Castagno, after which we will hear from Rick Francolini, the creator and organizer.
How did I first become involved in Lower Cape Pride? One of my best friends is Rick's daughter, Renee, who was a major source of inspiration for him to start organizing this celebration. When Rick told me he was starting to organize Lower Cape Pride, I was thrilled and happy to lend a hand in its formation and development. I'm currently on the programming committee. We're working to develop a diverse and engaging program of storytelling, poetry, and music, which will take place after the parade to share our stories and celebrate our community. It's been really incredible to see the hyper-local aspect of Lower Cape Pride. Often, LGBTQ+ events are relegated to bigger towns on the Cape, like Provincetown and Hyannis, and it's been so empowering to be part of a group of people right here in my neighborhood who are all rallying behind the community. This feels especially important in today's political climate, where queer and trans lives are seemingly constantly up for debate through discriminatory legislation, and our histories are so often erased. It's been especially harmful to queer and trans youth. It's been so powerful to have this group of people, both LGBTQ+ and allies, work together to raise up our voices and celebrate our existence, even or especially in the face of this increasing discrimination.
What prompted us to organize the first Lower Cape Pride celebration? Well, the inspiration for my wife, Joan, and I to start Lower Cape Pride actually came from our daughter, Renee, and our future son-in-law, Max. Both are members of the LGBTQ+ community. They live in Maine, and they've witnessed and participated in a growing number of small-town pride celebrations. The impact of those celebrations has been extremely positive, and we simply decided it would be a great example to follow right here on the Lower Cape. What's the response been from the community? In 2 words, overwhelmingly positive. We have found that it's been astonishingly easy to tap into this groundswell of support, and from so many different segments of the community: schools, senior centers, churches, nonprofits, town officials, our local police department, and the list goes on. And for Joan and I, that response has been so inspiring and so motivating. And not only that, it's enabled us to get the job done, because they're not only showing interest, but they're actually showing up and doing the work it's going to take to make this thing a success. How many organizers are involved? I'd say currently we have about 30 individuals who are actively engaged in the planning process. And we've got another 100 on an ever-growing email list contributing on an as-needed basis. And they're from all over: Eastham, Chatham, Brewster, Harwich, Orleans. We had someone from Sandwich at our last meeting. So it is truly an inclusive and regional effort. The weekend will be anchored by 2 main events, both taking place on Saturday, June 14th. The first is a parade in Orleans, kicking off at 10 that morning, which will be followed by a celebration at the Cape Rep Theater in Brewster that afternoon. For the parade, we've got a pair of marriage equality pioneers teed up who live right here in Orleans. Linda and Gloria Bailey Davies have been together for 53 years, and they will be our grand marshals. Orleans and Brewster reached out to us early on and offered their venue. It was a huge boost as we were looking to build momentum. Current plans call for an afternoon of education and entertainment. Rick Kuntz, the host of a PFLAG Cape Cod podcast series called Profiles in LGBTQ plus Courage, is set to be our master of ceremonies. And additionally, the Orleans Council on Aging will maintain a long-held tradition of hosting a Pride barbecue the evening prior, likely with a more intergenerational theme this year. And there's outreach in the works to libraries and churches and galleries and retailers and more to welcome their participation as desired. Why is this celebration especially timely? Well, when this journey began last July, the vision was to spread the love into smaller towns by building upon the momentum more commonly associated with larger cities, and frankly, by our neighbors right here in P-Town. It was extremely well received, embraced as a great thing to do, and also acknowledged as long overdue. Post-election, things changed. And post-inauguration, things changed again. And now there's suddenly a different sense of urgency and a recognition of just how important initiatives of this nature are. In the context of planning this celebration, the fact that we're scheduling de-escalation workshops for our community members speaks volumes. It's an unfortunate function of our current political climate, and is one of the many reasons this peaceful, welcoming weekend is so very important. We would love to hear from members of the LGBTQ plus community who have a relevant story to share. And this year in particular, the older folks who have paved the way and are the mentors for our next generation. We've got lots of them on the Lower Cape. It's our competitive advantage, so we'd like to leverage it. We'd also love to hear from their allies, another critical piece of the puzzle. Personal narratives are powerful educational tools. We'd like to gather as many as possible. And the best way to reach us is by email, lowercapepride@gmail.com. So what roles are we looking to fill? Well, the greatest role that listeners can fill is to support our efforts by spreading the word, offering talent, sending a donation if you're in a position to do so, and most importantly, by joining us on June 14th at the parade or Cape Rep or both. Lower Cape Pride is a self-funded grassroots organization that will be fueled by community support. Our fiscal sponsor is Nauset Interfaith, and their generous partnership enables us to apply for grants and to accept tax-deductible donations. But we're not asking towns for financial support, so community support makes a difference. This is ultimately about creating a welcoming community where diversity is embraced and celebrated. If Lower Cape Pride takes positive steps in that direction in this, our inaugural year, we will have achieved our goal. And if anyone listening would like to join us in that mission, we'd love to hear from you. lowercapepride@gmail.com.
That was Rick Francolini of Lower Cape Pride. We're going to hear other plans from Katie Castagno.
You've done a lot of bad things, but you were a risk I was willing to take. Guess I didn't care what you'd say. You struck a match and lit the littlest flame. Hot that summer, cold that spring. Guess it's how it's supposed to be. I hoped I knew what winter'd bring. You had other plans for me, yeah. You said a lot of sad things. Light your words on fire, follow the wisp. Wish I'd heard what you'd said when you spent every day burning your lips. Hot that summer, cold that spring, guess it's how it's supposed to be. I hoped I knew what winter'd bring. You had other plans for me, yeah. I followed along, blinded by smoke in your late autumn song. Smoke in your late autumn song. You've done a lot of bad things, but you were a risk I was willing to take. Guess I'm not a bad thing. You'll be gone before the season has changed. Hot that summer, cold that spring, guess it's how it's supposed to be. And if I'd known what winter'd bring, I'd make other plans for me, yeah. I'd make other plans for me, yeah. I'd make other plans for me. I'd make other plans for me. Now follow along, blinded by smoke in your Mill River song. We were so young, we were so young, we were so young, we were so young.
You've been listening to Healing Wisdom at Outermost Radio. All of our shows are podcasts at WOMR.org. Also check out healingwisdomradioshow.com and contact me at Pandora@WOMR.org.